Well, this is quite an exciting bookcase for me. These are all international editions of the Vampirates books. I think at the last count the books are translated into 24 languages and published in 34 countries. And I generally get sent a few of each copy, and I've tried to organise them and keep tracks of them by country. So you will be very familiar with the UK editions of Vampirates. I think you'll have seen those on many an occasion. You may have seen the American editions, which are available in both hardback and paperback, and have these rather nice jagged edges. These are about to change a little bit actually. There's a new look for Vampirates coming this year, which you can see a preview on my blog pages. Let me see. Italy, as we might expect from the Italians, rather a stylish cover every time, using character artwork. Japan does some of my favourite editions. This is the first part of Blood Captain. So obviously this is Trophy Race, Golden Hand with the ruby fingernails, and they've all got really striking covers, the Japanese editions. But what's lovely about them as well is that they have some really nice illustrations inside. I don't know if you can see that. This is a black and white illustration, which is a scene of people dancing at Mark Ettle's Tavern. Let me see if I can find another one for you. Oh, this is in Sanctuary, where Grace and Shanti are putting on the ribbons that were hanging down overhead. And as you know, if you've read Blood Captain, that was a bit of a mistake. That's going to have ramifications. So I'm kind of interested actually that the Japanese editions, which look like they're going to be very mangery on the outside, have got those really quite traditional illustrations. Another of my favourites would be the Finnish editions. This is the Finnish edition of Tide of Terror. I think that I really like this image. It feels very true to me of how I see the harbour in the books. What else? What other exciting ones have I got? Oh well, Russia. Quite a lot of extra foil on the Russian edition, I'm sure you can see. And there's a couple of other curious ones. This is rather nice. This is the Spanish edition of Blackheart, or Corazon Negro. I'm really excited by how well the books have done in Spain. They seem to have done particularly well there in terms of international territories. And I think they've done something rather different and rather lovely with Blackheart. So, yeah, I think that's probably about it. Oh, finally, audiobooks. I don't know if you know about these, but there are full-length, unabridged audio editions of all the books read by Daniel Philpott, and he does an amazing job. So it's a really fun way if you want to load them up onto your iPod. Maybe you've got a long journey that you're going on. It's a really nice way of finding out about the books. Well, underneath my copies, my international copies of the books, I have a few other bits and pieces relevant to the books. Now, I've got this folder here, which is quite heavy, and this has in it, basically this is Empire of Night, and I've basically, every time I've written a chapter, I've printed it out and I've put it in this folder, and I've done this for several reasons. You'll know if you read my blog regularly that I had a laptop stolen. And it was when I had almost finished Tide of Terror, so I had 80,000 words of Tide of Terror on that laptop, and it was stolen. And as it went out of the window, because I saw the person stealing it in my room, jumping out of the window, and I cried, "No, not the book!" Because all those months I'd spent working on it, I thought had literally gone out of the window. Fortunately, I had printed off pretty much the whole manuscript, so I was able to get it typed back in. But I now back up the laptop just in case something happens like that, or another time water got into one of my laptops and I lost quite a lot of dead deep at that point. So this is partly a sort of very basic form of backup, but also it's really good to know when you're writing a book, it's a bit like running a marathon. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you're not really sure that you're making progress. So I really like to feel the weight of these pages massing up, and I can start to feel the book becoming really, really substantial. So that worked very well for me. It was a good sort of psychological boost. So that's something I'm sure I will be doing again with book 6. That's how the book looks initially, just a bit of typewritten pages. And then when we get to the editing stage, it tends to become this kind of setup, where this is what I've got back from my editor, Venetia, and most of the editing is done online. So you can probably see here, these are things that Venetia has deleted, and I will go through using this copy, and I'll go onto my screen and I can make comments back to her very quickly and easily. So once the book's been edited, it's quite exciting because it comes back to me and I can still do a bit of work on it, but now, although it's loose pages, it's typeset, so it's starting to look like the book's going to look, which is very exciting because you start to read it in a different way. And I often find actually when it comes back to me in this form that it's a bit like reading a book someone else has written. There's a little bit of distance which I can't get when I'm still looking at the pages that I typed onto the computer. So this is the sort of the final stage that I can write a few comments on. I don't know, we might, oh yes, look, there's a comment here. Yes, I think I'm disagreeing with something that that my editor has said there, though I actually think with this one I may have caved in the end. But you know, I can scribble over this and she can scribble over this, and then from this we'll be at the finished text. One final thing to show you here, this takes us back to the beginning of the writing process. And I've talked before about how I like to set up chapter grids. I didn't do this so much when I first started the series, but I think I really started to do this very seriously on Blackheart. And now again with Empire of Night. And I think this has made a big difference to my storytelling and the pace of my storytelling. So I get these huge sheets of graph paper and I divide them up into 3. So this is for the first third of the book, chapters 1 to 15, plus a prologue. And it's really just working out what's going to happen in each chapter. The different colours of the post-its refer to which character is involved. So I think I'm right in saying that Grace is a blue post-it in these and that Connor's a yellow one. The orange ones are about the other main pirate characters. And the green ones are about who I call the Evil Empire, the sort of the renegades, Sidorio and Stukely and Johnny and Lola. And this is really helpful to me to map out the book in this way. And I will just be starting to get going shortly. I've got my blank graph paper ready to plot out book 6, and I've got loads of different coloured post-its, and I will get busy because I find this works really, really well for me.